Welcome into Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. Fun show on tap for all of you today where we're going to break down the winners and losers from this offseason on the Miami Dolphins roster. But before we get into that video, I need you to help me out and hit that thumbs up button. We rank 8th in Chat Sports and all of our channels in the month of June in terms of likes, but we're actually doing a good job for ourselves. We have 11,947 current likes right now. In the month of May, we had 12,135, so we're on pace to beat that. So good job, you guys. Let's beat it on this video. But I'd like to get this number into the top 5 and maybe even threaten for that 1 spot. So help me out and like today's show. All right, let's do it. Winners and losers from this offseason. I'm going to break down 5 names that either won or lost based on how they performed on minicamp, OTAs, other moves that happened in the roster to help lead us in the training camp. I think the number 1 winner, or at least one of the top guys, is Zach Sieler, the defensive lineman. And I think this could have been a loser category if they didn't make the signing of Calais Campbell. But I do think Sieler is a winner on this Dolphins roster because, one, he got promoted to the top interior defensive lineman. He was always working as quote-unquote Robin to Christian Wilkins, who was the Batman. But Wilkins obviously got that mega deal from the Las Vegas Raiders, getting $110+ million in free agency. So Sieler gets bumped up to that top dog role, but he also gains his own Robin for the upcoming season, just 1 year, but in Calais Campbell. And Sieler was terrific in 2023 alongside Christian Wilkins. He actually outperformed Wilk last year. He had 63 tackles, 10 sacks, 11 TFLs, 22 QB hits, and 4 PBUs. Like, those are elite numbers for an interior defensive lineman. And I don't want to be a negative Nancy, if you will, but I just wouldn't bet on that again. Like, I just wouldn't. Like, to expect Zach Sieler to go back-to-back years of 10-plus sacks from the interior defensive line, like, that just is simply not going to happen. He also was asked to be more of a pass rusher last year due to Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb getting hurt later on in the year. So I don't expect Sieler to do that again, but I do expect his impact to be felt throughout this defense. Like, he is that guy that is going to stop the run up the middle, also generate some interior pressure on quarterbacks, but when you have to worry about the 6'7" behemoth of a man that Calais Campbell is, and then Zach Sieler just gets to do his own thing because you can't double off Campbell, or you can't double Jalen Phillips, you can't double Bradley Chubb. Like, Sieler's just going to have the time of his life in the interior offensive line department, and I expect him to have another good, impactful season. That's why he is a winner. Loser, Liam Eichenberg, the interior offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins. Eichenberg's had a real rough start to his career, and I don't think it's getting any easier this season. The reason why I think he's a loser after all the events that have transpired with the free agency, the draft, is because he wants to get a shot at being the starting right guard. But I don't think he's getting a real chance to compete. Like, he might be told by the coaching staff and front office, yeah, Liam, you're going to get a chance. Just, I don't think that's the case, because when you think about what this offensive line has to work with, Robert Jones, Jack Driscoll are probably the two that are going to be mainly competing for that starting right guard spot, with Lester Cotton thrown in there. But the thing with Aaron Brewer being your starting center is, like, I like Brewer, but I wouldn't consider him as the most reliable guy out there. So who is going to be your backup center if Liam Eichenberg ends up starting at right guard? That's the biggest issue I have with Liam potentially getting that right guard spot. Like, if he's the best man for the job, sure, I think you have to put him there. But in full retrospect, like, if he's your starting right guard, if he goes down with injury and you have to go to Robert Jones and Jack Driscoll, well, then you have no backup center unless you're trusting Andrew Meyer, the UDFA out of UTEP. Like, that's why Liam Eichenberg's in a real tough spot, because Miami knows they need him to be their backup center, so they're not going to risk putting him out there at the right guard spot unless he is miles better than Robert Jones or Jack Driscoll for that right guard spot. Before we get into the next 3 names, I want you to drop a name for me. Who gained the most from this Dolphins offseason? It could be anybody on the roster. Hell, it could be a position group or a head coach. I don't care. Just let me know who gained the most from this Dolphins offseason. Maybe you're typing Jevon Holland, the fourth-year safety from Oregon, because I do believe he is a big-time winner. Entering the last year of his 4-year rookie deal that he signed after being a second-round pick, I think Jevon Holland is in for a career year on this Dolphins defense, and that is kind of part of the reason why I want an extension to get done between Miami and Jevon, like now. Like, I know Tua needs to be extended, but as soon as you wrap up that extension with Tua, I think you got to get it done with Jevon Holland, because I think his 2024 season is going to be massive. He obviously had an unbelievable start to his career in his first 2 years. Had a little bit of a down year last season in terms of injuries and production and coverage, but with Anthony Weaver coming into the fold, I think Holland's in for a massive step. And it's maybe because I'm bullish on the new defensive coordinator for Miami that is Anthony Weaver. But I just look at that defense. And if he is going to install a similar scheme to Mike Macdonald and what the Ravens have had over the past 2 or 3 seasons, then that means Holland's going to be relied on, and he's going to have a massive year. Think about what Kyle Hamilton for the Ravens has done. He's been unbelievable. He's been the best safety in football over the past year and a half. Not going to say Holland's going to be able to overtake him because he's in a similar style defense, but for a safety that I already believe is fringe top 5 in the NFL, getting in a similar role, can play in the box, can play deep, can play nickel. He's got that versatility. I am massively expecting, I should say, Jevon Holland to have a big year, and I think you should too, which is why get him extended before he enters the final year of his contract. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we are going to have daily coverage on the Miami Dolphins, whether it be news, rumors, fun segments like this, just talking ball and expectations. We're really, really close to 57K, 53 subscribers away. Help us out, and let's get there today. Loser, Julian Hill, the tight end, who, poor Julian, I just don't know if he's going to be on this roster come September. I actually think he ends up getting cut from this team. And I know it's not a big name, and it's just like, well, why should I care if Julian Hill gets cut? And maybe you shouldn't, but this Dolphins tight end room is something that is not talked about enough that I believe should. Like, I think Jonnu Smith is a great addition in this Mike McDaniel offense due to his ability to make a lot happen after the catch. He's just going to be dominant running drag routes and running over the middle of the field. But with Durham Smythe still being here, and then Jody Fortson, who had a great summer. Fortson was making plays left and right all over the field during mandatory minicamp, during OTAs. And if that just continues during training camp in late July and August through the preseason, I think Julian Hill is on the outs. I'd also like to point out Hayden Rucci, the UDFA tight end from Wisconsin, as someone who can really threaten this roster. Not going to say he is, likely will start on the practice squad unless he gets signed by a different team. But Rucci is very, very solid at blocking, and if he's able to improve as a pass catcher, he might even push Julian Hill out of this roster. So to me, Hill is on the outside looking in already as that 4th, 5th tight end. Unfortunately, with Jonnu Smith coming in, Fortson coming in, Rucci coming in, I think Hill is on the outs. Lastly, we have to talk about QB1, who wears number 1. Tua Tagovailoa, he is a winner in my books. Now, the extension has not happened yet. Definitely be a winner if that happens. But why Tua is a winner? This Miami Dolphins offense was loaded last year. It's even more loaded this year, top to bottom. And then Tagovailoa is entering year 3 under Mike McDaniel. And that is usually when you see the largest leap in every aspect of life, whether it be in just the NBA, NFL, like whatever you want to talk about. Like, first year, you get adjusted. Second year, all right, you start to really feel comfortable. But then the third year is when you take that leap of you know what's expected, you know what you have to do to get better, and that's where Tua will be after this season. And then you also mention what he has to work with on the offensive field. Like, this is ridiculous, folks. You have the best wide receiver duo in all football in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You added Odell Beckham Jr., who is a clear upgrade at your wide receiver 3 spot. You drafted Malik Washington, who I believe is the biggest steal in the entire draft in the 6th round to be your slot guy / wide receiver 4. And then you still have a 3-headed monster after drafting Jalen Wright in the 4th round to pair up with Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert. And then also adding in Jonnu Smith, who we touched on just a little bit ago. This offense is absolutely loaded, and you might say this take is biased. I don't give a shit. I seriously think that Tua Tagovailoa can win NFL MVP in 2024. It's very simple to me. Tua had 4,600 yards last year. He does that again, bumps up his touchdown passes from 29 to 35, 36. Dolphins win 11 or 12 games and take the AFC East crown and have home field advantage for the first round of the playoffs. I think that's an MVP season, and I think he will seriously be considered for NFL MVP. I don't care if it's biased. I don't care how you feel on the lefty. I think it's a legit chance that if the Dolphins perform how I expect them to perform this season, he can win NFL MVP. Are you with me? What say you? Do you think Tua can win MVP in 2024? Type Y for yes or type N for no. That'll do it for today's show. Like I said off the top, hit that thumbs up button. Live or look content every single day. And we're trying to become a top 5 channel here at Chat Sports. Also, make sure you're following me over on Twitter because I'm talking about the Fins on a daily basis. If news or rumors drop, I'll have it over on my Twitter first. So go follow me over there. See you with a video tomorrow. Go Fins.